One. There we go. It's 9 o'clock, and it is Friday night.
And it's spring.
It is.
It's spring.
Officially, as of
Look
like
at the tie. I can break
this
out.
Morning. Yeah, we're at like stage
the light
3
ties.
on the cherry blossom. So you got
Look
the
at
memo
that.
to wear
Jelly,
the pink. This is the live zone prime time. That's Tony P. I'm producer Chris. Thank you so much for joining us on this Friday evening. We're hanging out with you at home. If that's where you're watching, you could be watching anywhere. We're mobile. We're streaming.
Yeah. You know what I just found out, too? That Geico's in our building now. They moved into our building.
I did know that they're moving out of Friendship Heights.
Yeah, it's us and them are the two major tenants. I wonder if they have the
insurance company.
There was a podcast that was there. There was the makeshift podcast where they do these segments where they name these companies or do, for example, name what these companies mean, like their logos or their slogans, and no one can figure out what the Geico one was. It is Government Employees Insurance Company. And what's really funny is I hope maybe if I could go up to whatever floor they're on, they have some like plush gecko dolls that I can take home. I don't know.
So basically what we learned here tonight is Tony P is already trying to trade up from Fox 5 Studios here in Bethesda and wants to go work for Geico.
No, I don't.
Instead. He wants to meet the gecko.
He wants to meet the gecko. How did you get that observation? Okay,
Listen,
first of all, I just want the stress reliever little plush dolls that they have.
Okay. I didn't know they had that. Tony P, March Madness still going strong. Yes, obviously, right now, Iowa and Clemson playing. Iowa winning 63-57. How's your bracket looking currently?
It is somewhat intact still.
Okay, good for you.
I did have Hawaii, but they lost to Arkansas today.
I had Villanova winning, and they really disappointed me
they lost by 10 points, losing to Utah State.
God, I mean, man, they get in
Arizona.
The coach, saying in the middle of the halftime interview that he was going to fire his staff.
Yeah, that was rough. I mean, and again, Villanova, when I was going through college or the college application process, everybody wanted to go to Villanova because they had just won that previous year with that final shot.
Yeah, that was a beauty. That one.
Jim Nance's call will be one of the best ever. It's like Villanova.
Did you apply to Villanova?
I did.
Do you remember Sir Charles was just jumping up and down? I went to Villanova for one semester, actually, while I was a senior in high school. Yeah, my mom worked at Villanova's library for 25 years. My brother went there for undergrad, and my other brother got his MBA there. So I spent a lot of time at Villanova growing up. So
collectively, you were there for basically almost a year.
Yeah. So I did. Yeah. So I did a thing called the Diocesan Scholars Program. I did 2 semesters at Villanova. Took a couple classes there while I was a senior at high school.
That's really cool.
It's still. I got my undergrad at American University, but
Did you want to go to Villanova?
Their basketball team didn't win the March Madness tournament. And what's up?
Did you want to go to Villanova at any point? Or you
I wanted to study journalism, and they didn't really have like a journalism program per se. They had a communications department. And it felt like home, and I wanted to leave home. I wanted to
kind of get outside the comfort zone.
But I wanted the same vibe. So when I was looking at schools here in Washington D.C. I looked at George Washington, a very urban downtown concrete campus. Yeah. I chose American partially because it had the quad, and it was like much more of a campus feel.
In a city.
No shade to George Washington out there.
No, they're two different vibes.
Totally two different vibes. Tony P, while the eyes of the sports world are on March Madness and basketball, we're talking about football tonight. You know why? Because the Flag Football Classic is coming to Fox 5 tomorrow. This is the inaugural Fanatics Flag Football Classic. If you're not familiar, this is basically the brainchild of one Mr. Tony P. favorite, Tom Brady. The tournament from Tom Brady and Fanatics Studios brings together the biggest stars from the NFL, elite global athletes, and the official U.S. flag football national team to crown the world champion in flag football. This game's going to go down in Los Angeles tomorrow. You can watch the action on Fox 5, like I said, Saturday at 4 p.m. This is a 3-team round-robin tournament taking place at BMO Stadium. Captains Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, a 5-on-5 showcase. Olympic-style rules to highlight the sport's rapid growth, because obviously this is going to be an Olympic sport. But also, in addition to the names we just dropped, like Tom Brady and Joe Burrow, also Jalen Hurts from the Philadelphia Eagles, Jaden Daniels, Harrison Smith, and many, many more of your
Brady's
favorite
playing.
players. Brady is coming out of retirement.
This is going to be
for
great.
This one.
I wonder if Tom Brady will go to the Olympics.
No, come on, dude.
great question. I can imagine that man wanting to add an Olympic ring to his list of or an Olympic medal to his list of accomplishments. So also, one of the Paul brothers, you may have seen him getting his ankles broken by Saquon Barkley.
Oh, yeah, and there's been some back and forth between him and Brady.
Also looked like a hell of a party with Fanatics founder Michael Rubin. Is that
Michael Rubin, yes.
Yeah, with Jaden Daniels, and Mick Jagger was there, and Tom Brady, and I think I also saw, oh man, his name's right on the tip of my lips, Astroworld. The rapper, yeah. Travis Scott. Travis Scott there, yeah. It looked like
it was right there. We had it.
I think my invitation must have gotten lost, Tony P.
So is mine.
I was planning on going as your date, but maybe next year.
Maybe I'll replace Logan Paul next year.
Yeah, right.
That'd be quite the downgrade.
I'm curious to see, if people are super into this. I think it's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I think the NFL understands that there is some resistance to bringing kids into football now with the concussion issues. The helmet rules have changed, and a lot of the playing rules on defense, you can't hit to the head. A lot of these precautions are taking place with the kickoff, as we all know. But I think people are still scared. Parents do not want to put their kids into the football pipeline. So this, whether it's lacrosse, which I think is becoming with a PLL, because we've talked to them in the past, being a very solid alternative. I think this may be the way the NFL is going to expand potentially. Is okay, hey. Is flag football a spin-off league that happens in case traditional football doesn't? Again, it's going to be good for 50 years. But
yeah, exactly.
This is a 50 to 100-year protection plan that could be done, and players could play for longer potentially. So,
no question about it.
Seeing Tom Brady back there, seeing him play again, I know that man could get on the field right now and play better than 50% of the quarterbacks that are out there.
Wouldn't shock me one bit. I would love to see Tom Brady not play quarterback in flag football. That could be fun as well. All right, let's get to some of our other headlines we're following tonight, and we're starting here in the nation's capital. First at 9, another juvenile curfew zone here in the nation's capital. It comes after a violent mob of teens took over a park down in Navy Yard last weekend. You may have seen video all over social media of that. There are now 4 zones in effect in D.C. The zones already included parts of Navy Yard, Chinatown, and the U Street corridor. That 4th zone that was just added this afternoon down at the wharf. The extended curfews will be in effect from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. tonight, Saturday, and Sunday. And what it means basically is that within any of the zones, anyone under 18 is prohibited from gathering in a group of 9 or more people, with a few exceptions, like if the kids are accompanied by a parent or if they are coming back from work. This ban is on top of the already in effect citywide curfew, which kicks in at 11 p.m. and runs until 6 a.m. One thing to note, though, the emergency legislation that allows D.C. police to implement these curfews is set to expire on April 15th, so just a few weeks away. Fox 5's Josh Rosenthal will have more on this story coming up tonight at 10 and 11. And Tony P., we talked about this recently on another Friday night.
And what's going to be interesting, so I know, of course, Fox 5, we are hosting the mayoral debate. Jim Lokay will be being one of the anchors for that. Looking forward to seeing that debate in May. But I think one of the issues that I know will be brought up is potentially this type of issue. Will a new mayor implement this, give the emergency legislation, or will bring it back up with the city council? And I think this will be a major part of the city council elections, too, thinking about what type of emergency power does the city council and the mayor's office want to give the D.C. police? Because this is, of course, an important issue. And you look at this, I think we talked to some Navy Yard constituents before this incident happened. So I think when you look at it, there is a need for these curfews. The biggest question is, what are some of the policies that are going to layer beneath that are going to help with recreation, for example?
Because critics obviously say
it's
that
not.
This
It's a
doesn't address
Band-Aid.
the root issue. Exactly.
It basically it's kind of like when you're gardening and you're trying to take all the weeds out, and you only pull it up by just like the visible part. Okay, you're getting rid of the visible issue, but what is the thing beneath it? So many kids don't have access to economic opportunities, to job placement, to recreation, all these things, education programs. We need to extend those because this is why we need them.
Yep. So Josh Rosenthal will have more on that story at 10 and 11 right here on Fox Local. In the meantime, Tony P., let's get down to business, talk about what else you've been keeping an eye on this Friday.
Let's go around
evening.
the world with Tony P.
Around the horn with Tony P.
Hey.
Can't say that.
We can't, can we?
No, I'm kidding.
That shows up the air now.
That's
okay,
a real, yeah.
We're going to Sorry. Also another Tony. We're going to start, of course, with no laughing matter. We're going to start here at the Pentagon, where a federal judge has blocked the Trump administration from enforcing new press restrictions that would have threatened reporters with losing access if they sought information that the Defense Department had not authorized for release. The lawsuit was brought by the New York Times, and Judge Paul Friedman said the public is entitled to information from different perspectives, not just the government's preferred version. The administration argued the policy was necessary for national security reasons, but the judge found key parts of it unlawful and halted the enforcement from Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. That's been a major issue, especially with the Iran press conferences and that press access. The White House is still weighing several military options with the Iran war, even as President Trump is now publicly signaling that he may want to begin winding the war down, unquote. Reporting says a lot of things here, Chris. They say that options are still under discussion, including securing water traffic through the Strait of Hormuz through troops, possible troop positioning along Iran's shoreline, and Reuters is also reporting that planners have discussed securing highly enriched uranium stockpiles through force. At the same time, Axios is also reporting that Trump is now suggesting he may want to step back without fully reopening the strait itself. So going back and forth, if you will, leaving that burden to other countries. But officials caution this does not mean an immediate end to operations, as there is still troop movement from the United States and allies. Back here in the United States, the Justice Department is moving to dismiss federal charges against 2 former Louisville police officers accused of falsifying the warrant used in the 2020 raid that killed Breonna Taylor. The officers Kyle Meany and Josh James have been accused of misleading a judge about whether Taylor's ex-boyfriend was receiving packages at her apartment. Prosecutors now say they cannot prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the statements in the warrant affidavit were materially false under the federal criminal standard. If that dismissal goes through, Brett Hankinson would remain the only officer criminally convicted in the federal case tied to the raid in 2020. At the White House, the administration is expanding its Trump RX discount drug platform with 3 more medications, including the diabetes combination drug Gendadueto. I think I pronounced that right. The effort is part of Trump's broader push to, of course, lower the cash prices on certain high-cost medicines, especially for people paying out of pocket. The White House has promoted earlier Trump-X offerings by posting the cuts of 70, 80, and even 90% on some drugs listed, and says the platform is designed both to pressure manufacturers and to give consumers more direct access to discounted prices. We're seeing a lot of this, Chris, especially with Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs platform as well. It's like basically a competitor. In the media world, CBS News is beginning another major round of layoffs today under editor-in-chief Barry Weiss. Reuters reports about 6% of the workforce was cut today as the company tries to boost its ratings and restructure under new ownership. Multiple reports also say that CBS News Radio, a nearly century-old service that supplied hundreds of affiliate stations, is now being shut down today, with leadership telling employees the company has to shrink in some areas in order to invest in other areas of content. And in tech policy, the Trump administration has finally released a new national AI framework for Congress, calling for one federal rulebook instead of a patchwork of state laws. The framework pushes for federal preemption of any state-level AI rules, stronger protections for children, safeguards against AI-enabled scams, support for faster data center permitting, that's going to be impacting a lot of us here in the DMV, and a lighter touch regulatory approach meant to speed AI innovation. It also says Congress should not create brand new federal AI regulations and should instead rely on existing agencies with subject matter expertise. So basically, a executive branch first approach. In the entertainment news, some very sad news today. Chuck Norris has died at the age of 86. His family announced that he passed away Thursday morning, surrounded by loved ones and at peace. Norris had only recently turned 86 on March 10th, and he had reportedly suffered a medical emergency. We reported on this the other night in Hawaii the day before, but the family did not disclose a cause of death. Norris became a martial arts icon, an action movie star in films like The Delta Force and Missing in Action, and later a television staple with Walker, Texas Ranger. And can we forget that he saved dodgeball for Average Joe's Gym when he gave that iconic thumbs up to get them back into the ADAA championship game against Globo Gym. Exactly, I'll tell you. Now, it's funny, there's a story, too, that Ben Stiller had to beg him to do that role, and then afterwards he had no regrets of doing that, both sides. Also in entertainment, ABC is facing what could be a loss of more than $30 million after shelving the next season, The Bachelorette. We talked about this all last night. But the season, of course, has been built around Taylor Frankie Paul, but the network pulled it yesterday, just days before the premiere, and now there is reporting that shows the series typically costs about $2 million an episode to produce, with a full season costing upward of $25 million before promotion and scheduling losses are factored in. So this is $30 million basically as a benchmark. Potentially this could be almost $100 million by some reports as well. And finally, a lighter entertainment note, Ryan Seacrest says he is on Tinder. During a love-themed episode of Wheel of Fortune, Seacrest joked to Vanna White that he would be on Tinder that night to find love potentially, adding that he felt lonely being the only unattached person on the stage during the show. Seacrest, now 51, has last publicly been linked to model Aubrey Page, with that relationship ending in 2024. And I'll tell you, Ryan Seacrest, full disclosure, is one of my heroes in this business, and I hope that he finds that love.
Ryan Seacrest is not on Tinder. If anything, he's on Raya with all the other famous, cool people.
The way he said it, it seemed like he might be. So, again, we say this in jest, but I think overall, he's a really, one of my inspirations in the business. But I think he's, he travels a lot, he works a lot. It's hard to maintain a relationship.
Yeah, you can go home and cry in his millions of dollars.
No, listen, hey, everybody deserves love, okay? And you know what? How many times has he facilitated this?
You need to prioritize it, Tony P.
I know, but listen, hey.
It's a two-way street.
But he's a great host. Being a great host is a lot of work. Remember when he was doing Kelly and Ryan?
True.
Kelly and Ryan in America. He was on both coasts.
I'm sure that's true, but
it's a lot, my friend.
Yeah, sometimes love requires sacrifice. Let's take a quick break. We're going to leave you with a live picture from our Fox 5 Skycam at the National Harbor, the Capitol Wheel, all lit up on what's been a wet night, but things are warming up this first day of spring. Hopefully we've made that transition. March coming in like a lion, and it certainly did. Hopefully it's exiting like a lamb. Mike Thomas will have the full forecast coming up on Fox 5 News at 10 here on Fox Local. When we come back, though, Tony P., something we've been looking forward to for a while, we got a chance to catch up with late-night legend Jay Leno.
Yeah, baby.
Who is back on tour, and he's doing it with another late-night legend. We're going to talk to him all about that coming up next. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Live Zone Primetime. I don't know if I accidentally didn't roll a break there, so if you're watching on Fox Local, I have no idea. Maybe you got a break, maybe you didn't, maybe you just watched the Capitol Wheel for a little bit.
Yeah.
But we're back.
And watch
we're back. It's a Friday night.
Watch this chit-chatting, you know?
Yeah, you know, listen, Tony P, as you know, is a huge fan of talk shows. He wants to host one himself someday. So
thank you for being open about my ambitions.
When the opportunity came up for us to talk to a late night talk show legend, of course, we had to do it, A.
Yes.
And B, you know, sometimes when things aren't, when our interviews aren't live, it's either one of us or it's the other. But this was one that we made sure we made time for both of us to be involved in.
Thanks to this man right here.
Here's the deal, though. It's not just one late night legend who's hitting the road for this comedy tour. It is two. We're talking about Jay Leno and Arsenio Hall teaming up. They're coming to the region. They're going to be at Hollywood Casino in Charlestown, West Virginia later this month. First, though, Tony and I got a chance to talk to Jay all about The Tonight Show, his time on the show, the changing nature of late night television, how it's evolving, his wife's Alzheimer's diagnosis, and much, much more. So I want you guys to take a look. This is a longer package than we sometimes do, but when you get a chance to talk to Jay Leno and he gives you the time, you take it.
Oh, he sure did.
That's right. Take a look. For fans of classic late night TV, Jay, this is a real treat. And it's a real blast from the past because it's you and Arsenio Hall live at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races. First and foremost, how did this idea come about, the two of you go on the road together?
Arsenio and I have been friends for a long time. I'm the one that brought him out to California. I met him in Chicago. I said, you should be in LA. I gave him my phone number. He said, call me when you get to town. Because I was a little further along. I'm older than him, and I was a little further along in showbiz than he was. So when he came out, I kind of showed him places to play and got the road. Then we got to be friends. And then we got on competing networks, you know. So then it becomes, ooh, you know, like there's a battle going on. And, you know, it was actually pretty funny. Because, you know, remember he said he's going to kick my butt and all this kind of stuff. And, you know, it makes headlines. So my job as a comedian is to watch every other show so I don't repeat myself or say something that somebody else has said, right? So I watched Arsenio's opening show. And it was good. You had Brooke Shields and a bunch of other people. And then he said, now this show is going to be about the music, about the funk. You're not going to see Barry Manilow's ass on this show. Yeah, they all applauded. Okay, a couple of months go by. I'm watching Arsenio as I watch Dennis Miller and Letterman and everybody else too. And I see Arsenio go, next week, Barry Manilow will join us. I went, ooh. So next day I call, man, I go, hi, Jay Leno, can I speak to you? I said, he don't want to speak to you. No, he needs to speak to me. This is important. No. And then I hear in the back, who is that? Is that Leno? So what's he calling me here? What's he want? I said, put him on the phone. What do you want, Leno? What do you want? And I went, ooh, next week, Barry Manilow will be on the you know, and he fell down laughing because he knew how sick. Because, you know, when you do a late night talk show, you need every guest. There's not, you need 3 or 4 people a night, 5 nights a week. And you have to take people who might not be a fan of, or you might not like their music, but you have to give everybody a shot, you know. So from that point on, we were good friends. And he always had a sense of humor about it. But, you know, he was like real mad and he'd sit like this, you know, and it was very funny, very funny.
So when you guys are out on the road together nowadays, how has your relationship evolved? And do you guys get a chance to like catch up? Do you guys get a chance to hit the stage together?
Well, we do. Yeah, that's what we do. I mean, we go to, obviously we're not staying in the same hotel room, but we'll stay in the same hotel. And we have lunch or dinner together, talk about the show. And, you know, we watch each other and say, hey, you ever think of trying this on that bit? And I go, you ever try this? Oh, that's a good idea. So we always enjoy talking comedy. You know, I always like talking with Seinfeld or Letterman because I always come away with something and hopefully they come away with something they can use. You know, you're just talking, you ad-libs. Oh, can I have that? Yeah, you can have that. Can I have that thing? Yeah, okay. And you know, it's fun.
When you're doing a show like this with Arsenio and you're so close and building this out, how does it impact the writing of the jokes you're delivering, the different setups, and maybe Arsenio's doing it in a certain way? How does it impact that, or is it kind of more separate?
Well, we're not doing the same. It's a different act. I mean, you know, yeah, I know it's totally different. But it's fun. I mean, we don't if we have a subject that's similar. Well, how important is it to you? All right, I'll drop mine. Okay, yeah, or vice versa. You know, so yeah, it's not. You know, show business isn't difficult. People just make it difficult. It really is. It's like the easiest gig in the world. People buy a ticket, they come, they want to see, how do you screw that up? Well, you screw it up by just being a jerk. I remember when on the Tonight Show, we'd have people, we had one, the hotel was like over there,
Yeah.
half a mile. So, well, we got to have a white limo to pull up in. Well, first of all, you don't really pull up to the thing. You pull around back and you go through the stage entrance, and it's not like there's paparazzi there. So no one's going to see the white limo. Well, it's got to be a white limo. Well, why don't we just cancel your appearance? Okay, we don't have a white limo to take you a quarter mile. You have these ridiculous arguments with agents or managers that think their client is bigger than they are, and it's actually pretty funny. Yeah.
Yeah, I can only imagine the list of celebrities you could possibly run the name who were divas like that. But let me ask you a question. You're a workhorse. It's been a couple years now. Do you miss that 5-night-a-week grind? Not only the stand-up monologue that you had to do, but the constant interviews, the constantly keeping up to date with what's going on, what these people are working on.
I actually enjoy, to me, the killer one would be do one show a week, because every other day I would think, okay, I didn't work hard enough today. Why am I going to bed at 1 a.m? Should be going to bed at 3 a.m. When you have a show to do every day, it's like, you're right. All right, pencils down. We got to go, Jay. We got to go. What you have? We're taping in 20 minutes. You got to go. All right, let's make the best of what we got. And it's like raising laboratory mice. Sometimes you have a healthy batch. Sometimes you have a batch that dies. But if you stop and just commiserate over last night's show, well, you have another show tonight, and maybe that one went good, so you forgot about you. I actually preferred the grind of bang, 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 just because you had to do it right now. It's like you got to get a newspaper out. If this story isn't 100% correct, that's okay. Just get out the pertinent fact. And the same thing with doing the show. So I actually preferred that to doing one show a week. Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So one of the things that's been talked about is the future of late night, future of talk shows with the influencer movement and all these creators doing online shows now where it's saturated almost, and attention spans are all based on your own algorithm. Do you think that talk shows can survive late night in this era, or will they have to adapt?
The thing that talk shows had nothing to do with the talents. I mean, the guys doing the shows now are just as funny as us or Letterman or Arsenio. I mean, the thing that killed, they passed a law, I think or a TV rule, not a law.
Yeah.
Maybe 15, 18 years ago, that after 11:30 at night, you could run an extra 6 minutes of commercials in an hour. So instead of having an hour show, you had like a 40-minute show by the time you're down to it. I mean, if I see Jake from State Farm again, I'm going to shoot myself in the head. When I try to watch any late night show, it's the same. And this thing about aspirin and aches and pain. And then I realize I can go over here to a podcast and hear the same celebrity talk uncensored, unfiltered for 30 or 40 minutes. And be interested in the conversation as opposed to the sort of scripted thing. Tell us about your new movie, and then, well, thanks for joining us tonight. Let me get our next guest out here, So I think the format is kind of run its course. I think you'll always have talk in some form because humans like to communicate. I mean, that's pretty common. But you watch like a Joe Rogan or one of those kind of things, and that's the new late night talk show. And the thing is, in the old days, you had to watch it late at night. Now you can watch it whenever you want. So why would you don't have to set your alarm clock for 11:30 in case I fall asleep so I could see Letterman or me or whoever it is, Yeah, it's a whole different world. So the talk will continue to exist. People love to gossip and make jokes. It's just how you deliver it to the public that will change. Yeah.
But Jay, do you think that the format has gotten a little too political? I mean, even somebody like Joe Rogan obviously comes in with slightly an agenda, and as a result, people can kind of choose which direction they want to watch, who they want to watch, who they think reinforces their own beliefs.
Since I announced I'm taking politics out of my act, ticket sales are up 20 or 30%. Because people, they want to go see a comedy. Rodney Dangerfield and I were good friends. I love Rodney. I knew Rodney 40 years. I have no idea if he's a Democrat or Republican. It never came up. We just discussed jokes. Hey, Rodney, this funny? Jay, oh, yeah, that's good. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that's pretty much what it was. So, yeah. What was the question again? I'm not sure what the question was.
Basically, whether politics have kind of influenced the
Yeah,
You know,
that's the thing. You're not, if you go out there and you want to talk about your politics, you're not going to change anybody's mind. Everybody's mind is already made up. Trump people are Trump people, Biden or Biden, whatever. Like when I play almost anywhere, I assume a third of the audience is going to be Trump people. So if I hit him especially hard, boo, yeah, now they're disrupted. Now you're thrown off the, as opposed to have everyone enjoying the show together. Now you've pitted one side against the other, so it makes it a little tricky. Yeah.
When you look at kind of like with comedy, and I think in this era, my generation, it's all social media driven, where you have people doing crowd work and they're putting clips up and it's getting millions of views. Do you think comedy today allows for more observations and more opportunity to kind of refine that work? Or do you think there's more caution now with social media? Everything's being recorded. You might be recorded legally inside a facility.
Well, here's the thing. The people that cross the line, here's the thing, funny beats everything. Okay. I mean, I think of, what's his name? I just went out of my mind. A very funny comedian. The guy with the beer commercial, remember?
Shane Gillis.
Shane. Okay.
Yeah, Shane's great.
He's a guy generally really funny. Now, I used to do, I don't know if this is a good analogy. Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." And people go, "Oh, boy, that's give me liberty, give me death." As opposed to the next guy, "Hey, I don't care if you hang me." And yeah, it's all how you say it. And if you're funny, Nikki Glaser. Now, Nikki Glaser, if you've ever seen her, she's filthy sometimes, but really, really funny with really good jokes. So you go, that's a little over the top, but I'm sorry, it's funny. And those are two good comics. And if they happen to cross the line once in a while, they either fall by the wayside if it's not good enough, or they go to new heights, which both of them have done. I mean, Shane Gillis, it looks like he was hitting rock bottom when he got canned from Saturday Night Live, and that was the end of it. But he's a funny guy, and he worked hard, and he got it back by being funny and a little bit edgy. And I think when people watch him, they sense it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. He's not really serious. You're not really condoning racism. You're just showing like the stupidity of your redneck character or whatever it might be. I don't always assume. But comedy has not really changed that much. The basic tenets are the same. If I asked you to watch a Rudolph Valentino romantic movie from the 20s, you'd hang yourself. It's so boring and slow and laborious. But if you watched Buster Keaton, Chaplin, Laurel and Hardy, I think you'd laugh. I'm sure you would laugh as much as the people did then. Because, the big fat rich guy falling in the mud puddle in a tuxedo is always going to get a laugh. I'm sorry, it just is, And it's the same thing with comedy. If it's funny, all rules are null and void. Shane has proven that, and so has Nikki. Yeah.
So, Jay, you not only hit the road for comedy, obviously we can see right behind you your collection of classic cars. What are you working on right now? Do you get out on the road as much as you'd like?
Well, I do about 200 dates a year. So, yeah, I'm out on the road a lot. Yeah, I mean, I like being me because I get car guys coming up to me all the time. That's the fun part. I remember when I had Clooney, I had Judge Clooney on the Tonight Show right after he got ER, and he was a huge star. And people come up and go, "George, could you take a look at this scar?" And he goes, "I'm not really a doctor." I know you're not a doctor, but you know about medicine." "No, I don't know about medicine." "Well, could you just look at it?" "No, I'm not going to look at your scar because I know nothing about, and you drive you crazy. To me, when people come up to me and they want to talk to me, I actually enjoy it because, "Oh, you got a 63 Falcon." "Yes, so do I." You got the 60. "Oh, you got the 260 V." Okay. Now I'm having a pleasant conversation about a subject I'm generally interested in. It's only bad when you have to phony it up, when you pretend to be something you're not. That's when it doesn't work. And that's when show business becomes awful,
For someone who might be new into cars, someone who's trying to figure out to build a collection or just understand them, what would be a great starter car for them to learn about or potentially collect that's not terribly expensive? Again, it's all being expensive, but like what's a good starter for that to get into the antique car business?
To me, a great car is a Miata. You get a secondhand Miata, you get a two-seater sports car with a stick shift, and it's a real sports car. It's based on the Lotus. The Lotus was one of the greatest sports cars of all time. And they dropped the ball, and they let the Japanese run away with it and build a sport car that was reliable and oil tight and fun to drive. And, I see in Hollywood, huge celebrities and regular people driving Miatas because they're fun. It's a fun little sports car. I mean, that's really what it is. But whatever catches your fancy, you know. I mean, plenty of young guys, all of a sudden they're like big giant cars from the 60s because they find it funny. It's like you're driving a toboggan or something. It's enormous, you know, cat or whatever it might be. So whatever you like is fine. There's really no what's the best. If you're looking at it as a way to make money, it's a huge mistake. If you do it because you enjoy it, well, that's something else.
Yeah. Dude, you still ride motorcycles? Because I'm trying to convince Tony P. I have just like a Honda Rebel, but I know maybe we can convince him to get like a Vincent Black Shadow or something.
Black Shadow be a fine motorcycle. The Honda Rebel is well, yeah. That's so I guess you're a rebel.
City riding. Keep in mind, city riding.
He's a rebel, and he'll never be. Yeah, that's.
Well, the biggest thing, I'm a little bit afraid because I'm not that coordinated. That's the problem. Like it's like I can barely ride.
And then you probably shouldn't ride. It depends why you want to ride it. You know, I had a famous person once said to me, "Hey, what's the best car to get girls?" I go, you know, I don't get girls. I got my girl 46 years ago. Okay, so I'm a little out of it. I don't know what to tell you. He goes, no, really, I don't know. I don't know what car is going to get girls. Oh, okay, if you ask me what's the fastest, what's the most fun to drive, I can give you an answer. I can't tell you which one's going to get girls because if I did get girls, then I would lose the car and I wouldn't have it anymore. So there you go.
What's really fascinating to me is the whole like how people love to collect them, but at the same time, it is kind of a status symbol for a lot of people as they build out cars. I'm going to get the big thing and just drive around in it. Like, do you feel that when you're working on cars, do you feel that it allows you to slow down and just kind of process life and be?
No, it makes you realize how valuable work is and how, a very famous actor during a commercial break said to me, "Hey, what's a good car to get?" And I said to him, because I knew he was really famous, "This new Ferrari is unbelievable. It's really good." And he said to me, "You know, everybody's got a Ferrari." I said, "Okay, no, first of all, everybody does not have a Ferrari. And if you repeat that sentence, you'll be taken out in the street and you'll be beaten by the villagers, okay? Think of what you just said. Everybody, most people have never even seen a Ferrari, let alone driven one or sat in one. And for you to say, oh, everybody, because everybody has a Ferrari. Get new friends, okay? Because you got too many rich friends. Try to get some regular people as friends." Yeah, it was just one of those out-of-touch sentences. It just made me laugh.
Yeah, you mentioned the girl that has been a part of your life for over 4 decades. You know, you always be a part of the Fox family. So from our family to yours, obviously, we're sending all of our thoughts and well wishes. How is Mavis doing?
Good. It's okay. Look, Alzheimer's it's not fun, but it's not cancer. It's not a tumor. And, you have to find the humor, because of Alzheimer's, I try to watch TV shows where they're episodic, meaning 40 minutes, not 5-part miniseries where you can't remember, did we see the first one? So I'm looking for shows like this. And my wife is very much involved with women's rights issues and things. So we're watching Hawaii Five-0 from the 60s. And of course, McGarrett, every woman, honey, sweetie, come here. What'd the perpetrator look like? All right, sweetie, sit down. So we'll watch this one episode where Stanley Holloway, the old actor, plays a genetic scientist who gets kidnapped by the Red Chinese. Hilarious. So McGarrett goes to see his daughter, who's 40. And he says to her, "What kind of genetic engineering did your father do?" And she says, "Well, I'm just a woman. I don't understand such things." And I hear my wife, "F this, F that." She just screaming at the TV, yelling at it. It was like the funniest thing. She might be a little out of it with the Alzheimer's, but she was sharp enough to know, just
that
tell me.
was BS.
Yeah, it just I really laughed out loud. She's just yelling at the TV, because I'm just a woman. I don't understand. Can you imagine having a line in a script in this day and age? Hilarious.
Right. And what's really incredibly, noble, and my mother's going through this as well, taking care of a parent, and loves your journey and is very inspired by it. One of the things that she mentions to me is it's a lot of quiet moments of care and of really being persistent. What has this part of your life taught you about commitment, devotion, and just really leaning into patience in those quieter moments?
Well, a lot of us have been very fortunate. I was not called in the military service. My brother was.
Mm.
I did not lose a limb. I never had to make a lot of decisions. Do I risk my life to save that person? I've been very fortunate. And it's a test. You have these marriage vows, you honor, obey, you promise to take care of the person. All right, you either live up to it or you don't. I mean, another famous person said the funniest thing to me. He said, well, now that Mavis has got this, are you going to get a girlfriend? I said, I got a girlfriend. I'm not, you mean I'm going to say to my wife, honey, I have to go with my girlfriend now to have sex. Okay. When you're in it, you're in it. And when you're out of it, you're kind of out of it. Okay. All right. Right now, I'm on hold. You see, that's not to say things, but right now, it just made me laugh. That's like the most Hollywood selfish thing you could say. Well, gee, my wife is sick, but I have certain needs. How can I gotta get it. It just made me laugh. It's just very funny.
That's Hollywood in a nutshell. I definitely could sense that.
Yeah. Isn't that the most Hollywood thing you could possibly imagine?
It is.
We live in a world now where doing what you're expected to do suddenly gets you such kudos from people. No.
Yes.
That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, the fact that you don't have a girlfriend, well, yeah, you're not supposed to when your wife is sick. You're not supposed to have a girlfriend.
Right. It's like it's LA's. Again, I sense that because I'm also in the Merrimack Valley, by the way. So I'm from.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So I hail from a couple towns over from Andover, and like we're not taught that. And you probably know
what town? What town?
Well, Haverhill, Methuen. My parents were divorced.
Haverhill, near the skating rink.
My stepdad now is like the biggest thing is like the values thing. Like we were taught values in the projects in Lawrence all those years ago. We were taught like to be committed versus the BS.
Right.
It's just like Hollywood kind of feels a little bit out there. Not to be rude to them, but
you can be rude. That's fine.
It kind of feels a little bit out there, It
just makes you laugh, That's where I've been very fortunate. I managed to, with the Tonight Show, I could be in and amongst show business without being immersed in it. I love Charlie Sheen as a guest. He's a friend of mine. I don't want to be Charlie Sheen. I don't want to live Charlie's life, but I'm amused by Charlie, and he makes me laugh. He makes such terrible choices in life. It just makes me. My favorite Charlie Sheen joke was Charlie went through $200 million. He spent it on women, gambling, and drugs, and the rest of the money he just wasted. It's just one of my favorite jokes. It's just one of my favorite. It's just such a stupid joke. And that's a good example. I look at Charlie and I go, I'm amused by it. I'm so glad I'm not in that. I'm not involved in that. You watch these lessons go around you and you go, okay, you're fortunate enough to make money in show business. I can afford, the people that get my just heartfelt whatever, teachers, nurses, policemen who have someone with Alzheimer's. I mean, when I'm not with Mavis, I can afford to have somebody stay with her so I can keep her at home with me. I mean, I go home every night and I make dinner for her and we do all that kind of stuff together, but there are times when I have to go to work but most people don't have that, and their lives are especially so when people come up to me and they want to pat me on the back, well, I mean, thank you. I guess I appreciate it, but I mean, you probably know somebody that has it a lot worse than I do. So I'm doing okay. But I appreciate the sentiment,
Oh, of course.
And obviously, people don't need to go all the way out to Hollywood to see you. They can go to Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races.
I'll see you there
and
with
check out you.
Yeah.
We'll send Tony P out there. He can't wait.
Listen, I like Charlestown, West Virginia. It's actually not too bad for a driving distance.
Oh yeah, good. I'll see you there.
I can't wait. Quick final thing. Like, do you think, like, when playing with audiences like this, playing in front of audiences in West Virginia, really people that really assaulted the earth people, how does that impact your connection with the audience like that versus playing in maybe East Coast, things of that nature?
That's more my audience than, when you do East Coast and West Coast, there's a certain thing. We live in an era now, everybody has a computer, everybody has access to the same information. So the idea is that some guy in bib overalls and a piece of straw doesn't understand what you're talking about. That doesn't really happen anymore. But what does happen is you find certain parts of the country have more of a base. And by that, I mean, you don't make fun of people in military service, no matter how silly they behave or what, you just sort of, or if you do, you try to, like my personal thing, when I leave the United States, I don't make fun of the president, regardless of who it is. If I'm here, my attitude is I can make fun of my brother. You can't make fun of my brother. So when I go outside the United States, I don't want to perform in Saudi Arabia and do Trump jokes because I feel like I feel like I'm talking against my country. I know that sounds odd, but it's just the way it strikes me. And when you play places like West Virginia, people understand that. They understand that when you see a veteran in the audience and you ask them to stand, people applaud, and they like that. You go to cynical places, Hollywood, sometimes other places, and that's not. It's not that it's frowned upon. It's just maybe it's seen as it's hokey or something. But to me, I like to do it because I see when you get those older guys stand up and they're coming to a show and they got their hat that says Vietnam '68. They get an applause. These guys didn't get it the first time around. They got spit on. They get you do baby killer. Whatever it might have been. So any get a chance to. My brother is one of those guys. So. It makes me feel good. So that's sort of the difference. But other than that, it's pretty much the same.
And just a reminder, you can catch Jay and Arsenio at Hollywood Casino in Charlestown, West Virginia, March 28th. Tickets are on sale now.
That's going to be a great show. And it's only an hour and 8 minutes from this studio, Chris. I think I might have to go.
I think you should definitely
maybe stay at the hotel. Be kind of perfect.
There you go.
Right there. Maybe
hang out with
some
Jay
slots.
And Arsenio. Exactly.
That'd be cool content. Jay and I collaborate on a slots post.
And you can, and if that happens and you guys are hanging out, you need to turn to him and you got to say, I was hanging out with this celebrity, this big name celebrity. Jay, dropping names like it's
I love it. Rodney
business.
Dangerfield, like that is the best. And again, he's also, of course, from 2 towns over from me in Massachusetts. So really
local
cool.
Legend for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, let's keep the entertainment vibe going. That is part of the song Heads Are Gonna Roll by the DMV's own Greg Gold. Now, that was off of a previous album. The band's new album just dropped today, and they are hitting the stage right here in the nation's capital this weekend. First, though, I got a chance to catch up with 2/3 of the Always Colorful group to talk all about it. Take a look.
You guys are literally on the road right now. Wilmington, I believe?
Yes, sir. We are playing, where are we playing? Bowstring in
Bowstring.
Wilmington. We haven't been here in like 7 years. We haven't been touring in 7 years, but we're back.
Yeah,
Right.
so what's that feeling like? What's it like being back out on the road?
Knees.
Familiar.
Nah, it's definitely familiar. We played the first 2 shows, and like once you see the crowd like vibe with you, and people are like, I haven't seen you in so long, and all that, it's like you're just right back in it, and you're like, we got to be here for the people. We got to serve the people. So we can't.
They're excited too. It's nice to see.
Definitely nice to see.
Well, the reason
it's
you
just-
guys are back
it's
out on the
beautiful.
road is because you've got a new album. So let's talk about that. We've got the Gold album dropping Friday. And then you're going to be back here in Washington, D.C. for a homecoming show right after that on Sunday, March 22nd. So talk to me a little bit about the album, because you guys have always been one of those genre-defined bands, rap, rock, a little bit of go-go in there as well. But now you're kind of adding reggae to the mix.
Yeah, because coming up playing shows in DC, so that's what we did, right? We would play all these clubs in DC, and you had to learn how to play a lot of different genres. You just have to do that. And DC has the best musicians in the world. Nobody could tell us anything different. Like go-go music is amazing, and all those guys can play anything usually. So for us to be able to like stand out and do our thing, we would have all these different genres, and we were obviously influenced by all these genres. So reggae is something that we used to do so much before we started doing like the Red Gold Green albums, right? And so, and then moving forward, I think we played 311 Cruise. I went to Jamaica and I saw every single Marley. And I was like, you know what? I love reggae. and then two, we went to the 311 Cruise and got a love from this like reggae, American reggae scene again. And we're like, this next album after the Red album, because we're going to do another trilogy, Red, Gold, Green is the next trilogy albums. Let's make it all reggae and kind of show love to the sound, the world that embraced us, and that's the story of that. And right after that, we're doing the Green album. So new trilogy of albums that we have, Red, Gold, 2 and 3 for the first 3 albums, is just kind of showing the fact that we have all these different genres that we love and tap into.
For the hometown crowd, what message do you have for them, and what are you guys looking forward to most about being back home in DC?
We are happy to be back in the city, happy to be back playing shows. We got a DC show, we got a Baltimore Zoo show, and then we got a literal our hometown show at Reston Town Center. Show in June
27th, Reston Town Center.
Something that we used to always see, like Chuck Brown came there when we were younger.
I saw Rihanna with 2 dancers when she first started. It was crazy. Doing the Tainted Love song or whatever. I turned my head, I'm like, I know this or whatever. Wow.
Yeah, so it's some... Yeah, so it's going to be amazing. So we're just happy to be playing for everybody and just want to make people proud of us, you know what I'm saying?
I think it's safe to say that the DMV is proud of them. Red, Gold, Green, thank you to
Very
them
much
for
so.
taking time out of their busy tour schedule while they were on the road to join me for that conversation. The full thing is on my YouTube page. You can check it out there. And of course, you don't have to wait until June to see them at Reston Town Center. You can catch them at Union Stage this Sunday, March 22nd.
Oh, yeah.
Tickets on sale now as well. Tony P, we have done comedy, stand-up comedy. We have done music. Now let's talk about a little TV.
Ooh.
The worry is what you do next.
I know you are hurting. We are all hurting.
I'm 65 years old. I have a very small window to feed this. Wanna go fishing?
I don't know how.
Neither do I. But men do it drunk. So how hard can it be?
You will have as much life as you allow yourself.
A random cameo there from Will Arnett.
I know, he's
very
everywhere.
Different role for him for sure. So that's part of the trailer for the emotional new drama called The Madison. It's the latest show in the Taylor Sheridan universe, starring Michelle Pfeiffer, Kurt Russell, Matthew Fox, and more. The first 3 episodes dropped last week, and the final 3 premiere tomorrow. Before the premiere, though, I got a chance to sit down with some of the cast to talk all about it. Taylor Sheridan's latest show takes us from Madison Avenue to the Madison River Valley. The show follows the Clyburn family, whose New York life unravels after a tragedy. So they head to Montana to process their profound grief. IS stars Kevin Zegers, Bo Garrett, and Ben Schnetzer about what makes that grief so relatable. All right, we're having a little audio issue with that package. However, I will make sure that if you're interested, you can catch the full interview. I'm going to post it on my social media.
That's
YouTube
a
channel.
good
but
place.
I will say I got a chance to talk to Matthew Fox, Kevin Zegers, Danielle Vasanova. I also talked to Ben. His last name's slipping my mind. Anyway, this show is I really enjoyed it, Tony P. It is definitely a heavy show for sure.
I can imagine. But, a different twist.
But I really, really, really enjoyed it, and I recommend checking it out if you get the chance. I'm not one of those people that was like totally. I never watched Yellowstone. I watched a couple episodes.
I haven't watched any of them.
I haven't watched Landman, but this one was insanely compelling, and Michelle Pfeiffer is fantastic in it.
She plays a really good reflective role like this. She's played roles like this in the past. She's a very deep actress and knows how to go to those places about grief and strife and all those things. So just seeing her back doing this type of work is really, really great. I like how it really gets, deep about grief and also kind of escaping, going to a new place to try to build that new life. Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing what that actually, how that plays out.
It's the Madison Avenue and the Madison River Valley in Montana kind of juxtaposition. All right. Well, since we
got a few minutes.
Things didn't go according to the plan, though. We do have a couple minutes. So, in addition to the Madison and March Madness, a couple other options to stream this weekend if you're interested. For example, one of them being Imperfect Women, and you see that cast right there. Tony
Good cast.
I mean, that is a killer cast right there.
God.
And I use the word killer because this story is of lifelong friends whose worlds are shattered when one of them turns up dead. You see Kerry Washington, Kate Mara, Elizabeth Moss, also Leslie Odom Jr., Joel Kinnaman, Corey Stahl, and Cheryl Lee Ralph. That one is streaming now on Apple TV. So a lot of people I know are interested in checking that one out. You can also check out Marissa Mitchell's interview with Kerry Washington and Leslie Odom. That's on our Fox 5 DC socials as well. The other new show out this week, this is an animated comic book adaptation. It's called Invincible. This is season 4. Fans who love it, love it. Let's put it that way. Okay, so
very cult following.
Yeah, very much a cult following. Stars the voice of Stephen Yeun, streaming now on Prime Video. The other new one, I'm curious, Tony P, did you ever watch Peaky Blinders?
No, I have heard about this movie and this whole the social media movement's like all on this.
It started as a TV series. It was super popular, and now they made a big screen adaptation.
Right.
It's also streaming on Netflix. It was on the big screen first, Netflix style, where they did, basically limited engagement. Now it's streaming on Netflix. But this one, the first season, Tommy Shelby is Cillian Murphy's character.
Okay.
The movie is called The Immortal Man. Set amid the chaos of World War II, Tommy returns from a self-imposed exile to face his most destructive reckoning yet. With the future of his family and country at stake, Tommy must decide whether to face his demons or confront his legacy and burn it to the ground. So,
interesting.
All right. In addition to Cillian Murphy, you also have Barry Keoghan, Rebecca Hall, Stephen Graham, who you may remember as the Emmy Award winner from Adolescence. And more. That one's
that's an intense cast. I like that.
Very much so. And that show you may have seen there. It's got some memes as well.
Oh, totally.
Including a scene of Cillian Murphy going around and telling all of his boys not to fight on his wedding day. No fighting. It's a classic. All right, this one I'm very curious about. The new season of Jury Duty. Did you watch the first season of this?
I didn't even know this existed.
It's a reality hoax show.
Oh, God.
Okay. The first season was a fake jury, which is why it's called Jury Duty.
Okay.
But what it was a bunch of comedians and actors, and then one celebrity, James Marsden, and then one guy who did not know that everyone else was acting. And basically,
that's kind of
it
funny.
was how him reacting to all of the absurdity around him without knowing he's in the middle.
It's kind of like Borat a little bit.
Kind of. But what made it so great was James Marsden playing himself, but this exaggerated version of himself, a celebrity who gets called for jury duty but doesn't want to be there, wants to try to find a way to get out of it.
Right.
It was so funny and interesting. It's such an interesting premise, and they executed it to perfection. So I'm curious to see how they'll do it this time. This time it's set at a fictional company retreat.
Oh, God.
One temporary worker who doesn't know that he's in the middle of this fake company retreat. So you can catch this one streaming on Prime Video.
Who's the actor?
As well. See, that's the thing. I don't know if they have like a celebrity
Oh,
this
it's
time
not the same
around
setup like that.
because,
Okay.
I don't know how it would work into this, setup this time around. But if you're a fan, check it out. Let us know what you think. But those are some of your new options to stream
I
this
like
weekend.
that.
I think most people will be watching March Madness, or maybe the Fanatics Flag Football.
I think so. Now, also, 2 quick things from Netflix, actually. So, of course, we just found out that the second iteration of the live roast after the roast of Tom Brady is going to be Kevin Hart coming up
Do you
this
think Tom
May.
Brady's going to be the MC this time?
No,
Like-
it's going to be done by Shane Gillis. He'll be the host of the program.
Okay, that sounds fun.
I like that contrast and how they both do comedy. Again, Kevin's very intense. Again, there's a lot of great one-liners. Then you have Shane that's kind of builds up and real more kind of a mellow comic. I'm excited to see that whole back and forth. Because again, Kevin Hart did a wonderful job when he hosted and executive produced Tom Brady's The Greatest Roast of All Time. And secondly, really cool stuff. Beyond Zach Galifianakis having a gardening show coming up on Netflix,
I saw that.
there's going to be another Kevin Hart show called Funny AF. It's going to be a comic reality show, basically like American Idol, where they're going to be able to pick the next funny comic. And Tom Segura is a part of this. Chelsea Handler, who you interviewed recently, is part of this as well. It's going to be American Idol style or like Comic View on BET from years ago on Netflix, though.
All right. Well, some things to keep your eye
just
on.
look out on for
Meantime, you
May
can always
and
stream
April.
us here on Fox Local. Don't forget, Saida Abbas will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. with Weekend Live. For Tony P, I'm producer Chris. Thank you so much for staying with us here on this Friday evening. Fox 5 News at 10 is coming up next. Have a wonderful weekend, and I don't know, I guess go Michigan at this point.
Yeah, there's no other teams for us.